Right now, the weather is about 32 degrees in Lagos.
And it's still morning.
And Google says it feels like 40 degrees. And it christens it excessive heat.
Of course.
Okay. So, as a result, your body naturally loses water. Don't forget, your body is principally water. A lot more of you is more of water. So, you lose water through sweating, urination, and if you don't replace it quickly enough, you get dehydrated. Now, we understand that people at risk include athletes, that's those who work in the heat. You know some of them. Older adults and those with chronic conditions. What are the recommended amount of water you're supposed to drink in a day? Alera, for instance, is supposed to drink a minimum, or should I say average, 2.7 liters of water per day.
What's my name doing in it?
As I was saying, and I'm expected to drink almost 4 liters of water in a day. You still feel okay? So, highly active people and those exposed to high temperatures should increase their water intake to avoid dehydration. You know what? I'm speaking too much Turanchi. Dr. Bukola Agunbia, Farm Dr. Bukola Agunbia is here with us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, as usual. Good morning.
So, you know that sticker? What is this whole matter of dehydration that we are talking about? It may sound funny. In fact, some people are wondering, dehydration, are we not in Africa? I mean, this water is, so why is it an issue?
It's a major issue. At this time, the weather is actually very hot right now. And it's a major issue because we have a specific condition that requires that we pay particular attention to our hydration level. We have genetic factors and we have environmental factors. Environmental, we are the tropical climate area of Africa, so the average room temperature is quite high. And genetically, we don't do well with dehydration. We have the sickle cell traits, which when we talk about sickle cell, the sickle traits, people just go off to the extreme, to the SS, but that's not the sickle traits we have. People who are AS actually have the sickle traits. That means you have one normal hemoglobin and you have the sickle traits. And it's actually an adaptation for us to be able to survive malaria. If you are AA, you don't do well with malaria. We all know that. The sickle trait, which is the S in front of the S, AA, if you have it, what happens is the red blood cell changes shape into a sickle shape, so the malaria parasites would have issues to attach to it. So it's actually an adaptation evolution. But the trade-off is, once the red blood cell changes into a sickle shape, you have issues with oxygen transportation and so many other things.
So, but who are the people that are, we mentioned, some of them, but tell us, just for clarity, what does it mean to be dehydrated? And what are the implications?
Okay. I think the best test for it is to check the color of your urine. If your urine is becoming yellow, as in like you can really see that this is yellow, or getting very close to being orange in color, then you are dehydrated. It should be ideally very pale yellow. Very pale yellow, that's the ideal way. Then maybe you're beginning to feel tired, you're having issues with concentrating, then you are very, very dehydrated. So that's the simplest way to check. And I can tell you from our findings, from our research that we've done, 85% of adults are dehydrated. Because one of the first controls we get, if you see little kids, if they see you with water, they just finished one, they want to take another one. They want to take another one, and they don't mind weeing everywhere. They don't want to control it. They are not even able to control it. But one of the hallmark of you becoming conscious or you're growing up is you start controlling how many times you visit the bathroom to wee yourself, and in retrospect, you start controlling how the quantity of water you take, because you get to realize, oh, I think if I take a lot of water, I have to start going a lot, so you start controlling it. And something funny about nature is if you don't use a particular part of your brain, it goes dormant. So you don't get, some people don't even get dehydrated at all. The only time they take water is when they are eating and they are feeling choked. And once they've used that water to push it down, so most adults are 85% dehydrated. And our body is 55 to 60% water, depending on the age, sex, and all of that. But our brain is 75 to 80% water.
Oh, okay. So even for proper brain function,
Yeah.
we need water.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is dehydration life-threatening?
Yes.
How so?
All right. When you are constantly dehydrated, when you have a lifestyle of not drinking water, then another major factor we need to consider is that as Africans, especially if you have that sickle trait, even as Africans generally, we don't just lose water. Because we sweat, because the weather is hot, we lose electrolytes. So it's not just about gulping water. You need to also replace those electrolytes that you are losing all the time. So it's not just about gulping water, it's also about using a lot of electrolytes to replenish. So when you have something we call chronic dehydration, that means you've been dehydrated most of your life or most of the time because you have an habit of not drinking water and you sweat a lot and all of that. One of the first things that will happen to you is you have the tendency to be anemic, because our water-soluble vitamins are the ones you need in red blood cell production. So by the time you don't even have enough extracellular and intracellular fluid, you are losing those vitamins. So you become anemic over time. When you become anemic over time, which is a precursor to organ damage. Then there's also the part that your blood becomes thicker. The blood viscosity is higher than it should be because you have water in your blood. Your plasma is a lot of water. So the blood becomes very thick. It becomes more work for the heart to pump that type of blood. You are predisposing yourself to hypertension and so many other things along the way. So it's actually very life-threatening.
Sorry, you've spoken too big English.
Two range.
Number one.
Okay.
Electrolyte.
Okay.
See, when you have it sounds like electricity.
Yes.
And that's Keja disco. and all that. So give us an understanding of that.
Okay, electrolytes
What they are and where we can get them.
All right, okay.
Because you said you are losing electrolytes and you need to replace it.
And I have already recharged.
So when we are sweating, we're actually losing three electrolytes. You are losing sodium, you are losing potassium, you are losing magnesium when we sweat. Electrolytes are like electrons in our body. They help in neuron transmission. They help to, just like electric currents, it helps your body to work well. It helps with the transmission of electrons around the body. It helps the whole biochemical processes in the body. We get it from salts. We get it from a lot of our fruits. We get it from nuts. We get it from coconut water. And if you feel you are sweating and you are not ready to eat or you are not sure of what you are eating, use ORS, oral radiation salts, at least to replenish.
Which is what?
Just water and salt.
There's oral radiation salt as a product that we use for children when they have diarrhea and all of that. Yeah, so as an adult, you can get that powder, just put it in the water to replenish when you are dehydrated.
Then when you say thicker blood, we already know that blood is thicker than water. So, how do I know? Okay, maybe I should put it better. What is the diagnosis for dehydration? How do you diagnose dehydration? How do you know, excuse me, that they are dehydrated? You have given us one, a person's urine. How do you know that your blood is thicker? You can't bring it out and be checking.
If you do a complete blood count in the lab, they can actually discover for you that you have a thicker blood.
Okay. Now, when you say rehydrate, or hydrate, drink water, drink water, drink water. No, you said hydrate. Is it only water? There are some people listening to you right now watching and say, I can just go to the bar.
I drink beer.
I just go to the bar. I can drink all kinds of drink. One bottle of vodka is also okay. I can take a huge mug of coffee or tea.
There's water inside.
Is water. So what's she talking about?
Okay. Every other thing you take, apart from taking water that you're putting electrolyte salt in it, every other type of water in your coffee, in your beer, in whatever, they contain so many other things. So your body has to start, before you start using the water, it has to start separating. So that's a lot of work.
It has work to do.
Exactly.
So give it water. It's just water.
Abi, at least you
So
reduce
it goes to work immediately.
Exactly. So you reduce the amount of the process that it has to go through. Because the water in your beer, for example, will not just enter your system like that. It has a lot of alcohol and all of that. So the only time that water will enter your system is by something we call a reabsorption. After it has been digested and metabolized and everything, it will now be reabsorbed, which is a long thing. So just take water and make it very easy for your system.
So those people that drink certain kinds of carbonated drinks, I'm thirsty, let me just take this cold one. Is out of place?
Of course, it's out of place because your carbonated drinks contain a lot of glucose in it. So immediately you are drinking it, insulin is already producing. Insulin will not come to play when you are taking just water. But immediately you are taking something that contains a lot of glucose and all of that, insulin is already coming out to help in the process. So that's you calling calling for unnecessary help when what you're trying to do is just to rehydrate.
Now, you mentioned the critical figure the other time that 85% of adults are dehydrated.
Yes.
Clearly, we don't even know that we are dehydrated.
Yes.
Is it a culture thing? Is it a practice we adopted? Someone said that if you didn't drink, if you drank water too early, if you were giving water too early as a baby, could also be a reason. At what point do you think people started losing that urge to drink water? You mentioned it earlier. I want you to reiterate it and help us. If it's a culture thing, if it's a mindset thing, if it's a status thing, whatever it is, help us understand.
I think from the days when I used to do a lot of medical outreach, one thing I realized was market men and women, they don't take water because they don't take a lot of water because they don't have a good toilets in the markets.
So they don't want
to have to go and use somewhere that is not nice. So they've kind of trained their bladder that once they enter the market,
they hold it.
They hold it. They will eat, but take small water because even your body will not remind you because your bladder is almost filled and you've conditioned your mind that you don't want to go and ease yourself. So it will not even remind you or encourage you to take a lot of water. And you do this day in, day out, your uric acid keeps going up, increased viscosity and a lot of that. And recently I was speaking to a parent. She was complaining to me, a mother, she was complaining to me that a 6-year-old boy or something is still bedwetting, is it normal, and all of this. And this boy will wake up in the middle of the night, he will still ask for water. This boy will wake up before he goes to bed, he can drink like how many liters of water. That's so what we are doing now is to stop the amount. I said, eh? Please.
Give
Do
him water.
not do that, because if this problem starts, you will not be here to face the problem with the child. Because yes, I think looking at it practically, I think it starts from that age when we are trying to stop our children from bedwetting. We start encouraging them to reduce the amount of water they drink so that they will not bedwet. And of course, they know we will beat them if they bedwet. So they start to consciously reduce the amount of water they take. And before you know it, that part of the brain stops working.
You know, you just gave somebody deliverance right now.
Yes.
The person is wondering, oh, so that is why. I don't know what the problem is. Now, for those who cannot help holding their bladder, what are the implications? I'm asking because those people do not see any other way around. It is also pointing to a bigger problem, which is that governments need to provide, these conveniences all around the country, the country, even in the markets that you spoke to. I don't know where they will put that kind of thing in mile 12, but so
they'll find the space, don't worry.
They better find the place. So what are the implications of holding your bladder, whether as a man or as a woman, for too long? Help us so that the enormity of the issue will sink into us.
Your bladder is a temporary storage, not a permanent GP tank. So by the time you turn something that is just supposed to, it's just a collection point, when you now turn it to a storage, then there's a problem. First of all, you start weakening the muscles in the bladder. Then when the urine stays too long, there's tendency for some of this urine there's tendency to have a reflux of some of this urine back into the urethra and all of that. And it increases your chances of having urinary tract infection and the likes. So it's not a good thing to do.
Well, someone is asking you, what's his name now? Shorty Abbey. Please help me ask, if cold water or room temperature, which one is okay?
Room temperature is the best.
Room temperature?
Yes.
Okay. So how many sachets of water per day for those that can't afford bottled water?
At least 8 sachets of water in a day.
That's a lot of water.
The truth is, your 1 sachet is actually supposed to be 50 cl.
But it is not.
But it's not. It's not.
These days.
It's not. It's about, in fact, I tried experimenting with 2-3 different brands. I realized I had to use like 3, almost 4, to fill a 2-liter bottle. So so if I'm using 4, no, I had to use 5 or 6. 5 or 6. So if I'm using 5 or 6 to fill a 2-liter bottle, I need to take within 3 to 4 liters. So that means at the minimum 8 liters. I'll be 8 sachets of water daily.
Now,
what is the danger of holding it for longer than, for long?
Like I said, it will weaken the muscle of the bladder, because the bladder is not meant for storage.
And what will now happen to the adults?
The person can end up with urinary incontinence. You are predisposed to a lot of urinary tract infection. That infection, if it's not properly treated, can worsen, can cause a lot of inflammation in the urinary tract, affecting the bladder, and a lot of things can go wrong.
I hear
in fact, it increases the chances of prostate enlargement in men.
Wow.
Because, for example, you have a lifestyle of taking beer at night. So you've had 4, 5 bottles or 6 bottles at night. You go to sleep. Not only are you intoxicated, you are fast. You are dead asleep, because taking that much alcohol is like you've sedated yourself to sleep. So it's like a knockout kind of sleep. So if your bladder will have activated your brain to wake you at, let's say, 100 meals, I'm just giving an example, at 100 meals, if that is what it will have alerted you to wake up and go and help yourself, because you are dead asleep, it will have to jump through a lot of too many hurdles to wake you up at maybe 200 meals or 150 meals. So that means the capacity has had to be stretched at that time. And you do that day in, day out with your prostate gland very close to the bladder. You stress it out.
Is it Is there any gender-based specifications? I know that they said that the research says women hold almost 3 liters and men should consider almost 4 liters. But is there any gender-biased complications?
Okay, you said 3 liters for the amount of water women should take, right? Okay, the reason is because of the difference in muscle mass.
Okay.
Men have more muscles than women. And when you have more muscles, your muscles have the water carrying capacity. It uses up a lot of oxygen from the water more than the woman. So that's why the liters for the woman is a bit reduced for like the men. So then as people grow older, of course we lose muscles as we grow older. So the amount of water we need is reducing. So I don't think we should go the route of reducing the quantity. Rather, maybe we should start working on building our muscles. Because if you have a lot of water in your system, it's better for you.
Okay. How about age ranges? Any peculiarities? You just talked about a parent who didn't realize the importance of giving water to the young children. But then we have teenagers, we have young adults, we have parents, and we have grandparents and all. Are there any peculiarities for these different age ranges in terms of water consumption?
Definitely, because when you're younger, you have a younger child, the muscle mass cannot be as much as an adult, definitely, so they don't need as much water, but they should take as much as they like, because the body will definitely take it out of the system. They can take as much as they like, because not only are they, as kids, for example, not only are you training yourself in so many other ways, you're also training your brain, you're training your muscles. So if, because we feel, oh, this child is just small, just take 1 cup of water, you are not helping that child to increase their capacity or that ability to be able to take more, forming that habit of taking more. But as people grow older, like I said, they need lesser amounts of water. But it's better to take, because it's not just the muscle that we have to consider. There's so many things you also have to consider. The water helps to reduce oxidative stress in our system, because water contains H2O. So the O is oxygen being available in the body. And as you grow older, the oxidation rate is high. So when you're taking water which contains oxygen, you are reducing the oxidation rate. So we cannot just consider the muscle mass or body mass and all of that. You must also consider that there's so many other things going on in our body. So everybody should just go for within 2.5 to 4 liters, so that it doesn't become, people start carrying calculator. Because it becomes so complicated. So everybody just have a target of 2.5 to 4 liters. But there's also a way, there's also a method to drinking water.
Okay.
Because when some people are listening now and they've got to carry a big bottle, no, you don't gulp your water. Because if you gulp your water, the same way your body will save you in case you are drowning, that it will push out all the water from your system, the same way your body will react when you just gulp your water. So the formula to it is to always have a reusable bottle of water, and you sip every time. You sip every 30 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 20 minutes. But it's not that you've forgotten.
Small,
yes.
Okay.
You take a mouthful, you swallow, yes. Not just gulp it down. That's not beneficial.
Can continuous demand for water in a child be a sign of juvenile diabetes?
Yes.
So how does a parent judge?
That's why they have to go for not a diagnostic check, a screening test. Our children, the mistake I think we make as, is it Africans? Yes, is we believe children are perfect when they are given birth to. No, that child has inherited a faulty gene and the good gene from the mother, the good and the bad from the father. I'm sure that's why the Bible said we were born in sin and all of that. That child is not perfect. It's just a matter of time when whatever that child has inherited will exhibit itself. So as much as we are doing screening tests for ourselves as adults, we should do for our children. They're not perfect beings. We should check what's their state of health.
Somebody is asking, John, is there anything like overhydrated?
Yes, there is.
You can you can sink in your own water.
Yes.
Describe that one to us.
The person will become confused. In fact, the person can faint. In fact, it can cause death when you're taking too much. Yeah, because there are some hard drugs that people take that actually make them take a lot of water, as in too much water, that they start gulping a lot of water. That's too much shock on your system. It's going to dilute all your intracellular fluids and everything, make that blood that we say will go thick when you don't have enough water.
Watery.
And maybe the heart that was having issues pumping a thick blood will now be confused with pumping a very, very light blood. So of course everything has its own. There's nothing good or natural that doesn't have to be checked.
Okay, Lawrence Akimboyo asks, is it good or bad to drink ice water to avoid dehydration?
It's not good to take ice water because the temperature of the water is different from your own. The temperature difference is so sharp from your internal temperature.
Maybe my internal temperature has the capacity to cool it down.
It will cool it down eventually. But why put your body through that stress?
So I am
it's like
tired.
When you take cold water, it's like your body needs to act very quickly to normalize the temperature of that water.
But it's very, it's not pleasant when you are very hot.
Yeah.
And then you take room temperature. You are craving some cold drink.
Maybe that is what Advert has done to us.
Ugh.
Yes, trust me. If you start a lifestyle of taking room temperature, no matter how hot you feel, you get to that point where you feel more comfortable and you are more hydrated over time when you take room temperature. Another thing that happens is when you take cold water, because of the sharp contrast with your body temperature, your body has to act very fast to normalize, then it will get out of your system very fast. It will want to do away with it very fast. So, but if you take room temperature, it's almost at the same temperature with your body, so your body is not trying to rush it out or send it out of the system. So you get more hydrated over time than taking cold water.
Auntie, in those days, before fridges became what you found in every family home, people put their water in clay pots. Their drinking water in clay pots to cool them, to cool the water. So why, even at that time, we still wanted cold water because we live in a...
Cold water is different from cold.
Oh, okay. Cool water.
Cold water is different from cold water.
Sorry.
Okay. Now, here is this. Now, you said that room temperature water is perfect.
Ideal.
Yes.
Cold water is...
No.
How about hot water?
Your blood is not hot.
Abi?
Hot water is also not good. Warm water is best. Hot is also an extreme. Your body will want to get it out very fast. So warm water. So you stay between cool, room temperature, and warm water. Don't go to the extremes.
Okay. Somebody wants to know if drinking a lot of water will make you put on weight.
No, not at all.
Oh.
Not at all.
Or give you a big stomach.
No. Maybe the big stomach might just be temporary when you just gulped your water down.
So you should not go.
So you should not gulp. Okay. But if you take enough water, adequate hydration actually helps with weight loss because it helps the motility of your GIT, so your digestion is faster. When you're taking enough water, when you're dehydrated, one of the things that happens to you is there's increase in cortisol level when you are chronically dehydrated. Your stress hormone is very high. And when your stress hormone is high, cortisol, is very close to glucose, your body feels, oh, we need to start storing.
You know, what we know changes as the years go by. When we were little, it was eat your food, then drink your water. Now we hear drink your water before you eat your food. Which one is correct?
Okay. You see, the thing is, I was speaking to someone recently that gone are the days when health education was something you have to do. Now, we don't need to do health education because, in fact, right now we have health over-education.
Okay.
Because we have the internet, so everybody is exposed to a lot.
Information overload.
Information overload. So what we have now done in my practice is to move away from just educating. What we now do is to hold people to, as in help you make sense of the whole thing.
Okay.
Then now hold you to consistency, because common sense is not common practice. But the thing is, for every lifestyle changes or habits, you need to determine what point are you in your health journey. The point you are in your health journey will determine how you use a lifestyle habit. For example, somebody who is overweight because they eat too much, so of course excess calories and all of that, we ask that person to drink water before eating, because water will have taken space in the stomach and they can eat less. So the fact that it's just water does not mean it applies to everybody. The fact that it's vegetable doesn't mean it just applies to everybody. That is why you have to know, where are you? What are you trying to achieve? What is your health goal? So that's why it's very important for everybody to have an health coach.
Just one last one. We've talked about the dangers, the risks, the diagnosis, all the negatives. What are the benefits of being properly hydrated?
Hydrated, wow. The lists are endless. For example, you won't be anemic. You have GIT issues. You won't have, okay, one thing about Africans is we have a genetic predisposition to having vasoconstriction. Our vessels constrict genetically because we have issues with nitric oxide synthesis. So as we age, the nitric oxide production reduces. That nitric oxide is what helps us to dilate our vessels. But that nitric oxide dysfunction that we have as Africans, it becomes worse when you are dehydrated. You have, the production will go very low when you are dehydrated. So if you are hydrated, you don't have vasoconstriction issues. You don't have vascular stiffness issues. And when you don't have all of this and you are not anemic, you don't have hypoxia, you don't have chronic dehydration problem, then your health will be perfect. Because most times, in fact, we did a research and we're able to trace over 75% of ailments to dehydration as their root cause. But sometimes you are treating hypertension. Hypertension sometimes is not because the heart is not working, but because the vessels are stiff. And the vessels are stiff because your nitric oxide has been low over the years.
You see, I was just nodding because you have spoken a lot of Turanchi.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I don't understand it, but maybe as a doctor we can take consultation.
Okay, yes, to do that.
But long and short,
Drink water.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
The Farm Dr. Bukola Agubiade, pharmacist and consultant, lifestyle doctor. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. One of the things that the doctor has told us is that when you sweat, you lose electricity. Sorry, electrolyte. And there's someone that helps you to do just that. And we're talking to him on our home stretch.